Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's broadcast. Today we've got the Western Boone Stars. They're playing the North Putnam Cougars. I'm Nathaniel Finch. Brett Kading here to my right. Brett, thank you for joining me.
Hey, can you hear me?
Pretty nice game here today.
Oh, it's a kind of a nice evening here. It's like a balmy 70-some degrees here at North Putnam High School, at least in the press box, right?
Yeah, I'm sure that it is a lot cooler down on the field, but it's nice up here, and it's actually a warmer day than what we planned. We'll get into that more towards kickoff. So for our matchup, you've got the Western Boone Stars 9-1. They will be playing the North Putnam Cougars 8-2 in a sectional rematch. Last year, if you guys remember, North Putnam, they came into this game here a year from tomorrow will be the last time these two teams played. The only times these two teams played, that was for the sectional championship.
And this was at Western Boone, is that correct? The last
exactly.
The last game was the last time they played was at Western Boone.
Correct. And here the game at North Putnam, that is, and what should be a pretty good game, as we mentioned. These two teams, the presumed top two teams in the sectional here, sectional 37. We'll take a look here at that sectional 37 and see what all that entails. After the first round of play went over last week, of course, Western Boone, North Putnam playing here. On the other side of the bracket, you have South Vermilion hosting Cascade. The winner of that game will play the winner of this one here. And South Vermilion versus Cascade, two evenly matched teams over there as well. So here are the Stars, kind of just looking at some of the stats here, averaging almost 40 points per game. North Putnam right around the 30 mark, and just quarter by quarter, the Stars, they're averaging 2 touchdowns in the first quarter for all their games. Putnam right around 7 points, 1 touchdown in the first quarter as well. The Stars then 10.9 points in the second, 9.6 for North Putnam. Those first half for these two teams have been pretty even, basically because they get up to these leads. Both these teams do, and then they just kind of coast for the rest of the game here. And as reflected here by their second half stats. So these two teams, they don't play really good teams that much so far this year. And aside from a couple early in the year, they've played some breezy games, and here this game, it hopefully won't be such a breezy game for either team.
Well, and the two teams that North Putnam has played that's similar to Western Boone is they've played North Montgomery and they've played Southmont, which they defeated Southmont. But when they played North Montgomery, they had North Montgomery down 20-0, North Montgomery had North Putnam down 20-0, and North Putnam came back to win the ball game 21-20. So, and if you remember that Western Boone, they defeated North Montgomery by about 14 points, but it should have been a much wider margin than that. But this North Putnam team here at home, they're not anybody that's not used to having winning seasons. They've got, great facilities here. They've got this regular grass field, which Western Boone used to be on turf a lot of times. But overall, I took a look at the field. It's really, other than a few little spots, I walked kind of up and down before I came up here. It's really not in too bad a shape for the weather we've had and as much rain as we've had in the last few days.
Yeah, exactly. And the two non-conference games in the regular season that North Putnam played against North Montgomery, as you mentioned, and home against Southmont, they beat Southmont 28-26, a 2-point victory over the team that Western Boone, they beat handily twice so far this year. And then there are 2 losses for North Putnam against Northview. They lost that game 50-35.
And that was earlier in the season, and they're a much bigger school than what North Putnam is.
Yeah, North Putnam, they've changed a lot since that September 27th game. Their second loss against Edgewood, they were away for that game on the 18th of October. They lost that game by 30.
Right, and I was told that that was a pre-sectional game. They were looking at being third or second or fourth in the conference. It really did make a difference. They had some guys banged up, and the way I understood from some of the coaching staff that comes into my little establishment in Ladoga, that they rested some people and they were trying to get some people healthy for sectional.
Yeah, as for Western Boone, their one loss on the season, that came against Western at Western, a 42-41 loss after a couple mixed extra points. After that, the Stars' record is perfect in conference. They beat Sheridan for their first non-conference game, 41-6, and they've just been cruising past opponents time and time again. They did trail for a few quarters against Lebanon there in that same week that North Putnam lost their game against Edgewood, so they have at least been able to experience a little bit of that competition coming from behind, but then they ended up beating Lebanon by 20 points anyway. So the Stars here in North Putnam, as these teams continue through the sectionals and interregionals, it's going to be key to learn how to win in those tight games. And by all accounts, this game should be a pretty tight game for most of it. Just to go into some of the keys to the game, Brett, for the Stars, really just limit those penalties. And we say it every week, and really it's true every week. And even if you talk to Coach Pelly, that's one thing that he wants is for his linemen not to commit holding penalties and stuff like that, keep pass interference out of the books, all this stuff to make sure that these silly penalties don't bring back gains, because early in the season, that game you mentioned against North Montgomery, that was a 14-point win and what felt like it should have been a 35-point win, but it wasn't because of multiple touchdowns, multiple big plays called back from penalties. So last few weeks, the Stars, they really haven't been able to cut back on those penalties. It's been key.
That's right, and the thing about the penalties, since I've been following Western Boone with you here in the broadcast booth, the biggest thing I've seen is with them is the penalty that cost them points. The penalties, you can get a holding penalty here or some kind of a penalty as far as like offsides or face mask or different things. But when you're going to score and then to take points off the board has been huge. And that's been a huge thing with them that I think since the North Montgomery game, they've done a lot better at not doing something that causes a score to be taken off the board.
That North Montgomery game, that was really a wake-up call for this Western Boone team, that even though they still won by 2 touchdowns, they knew, and the coaching staff knew, that it should have been a much bigger margin of victory. And really the Stars, that's kind of the turning point to where you start seeing more blowouts and a lot less penalties throughout the season.
Right. And a lot less scores. I mean, the one thing I remember you saying last week was, well, I'll just throw out a number. Say they've had like 110 points scored against them this season. 42 or 3 of that was the first game. After that first game, they've really held the teams down, and they've scored a lot of points since that point in time. Oh, there you go. 116 points have been scored against Western Boone. Subtract the 43 points off that first game, and then they scored 380. And you take the 41 they scored, so they've scored about 340 points since that first ball game. I mean, it really, I think that says a lot. And you've mentioned it in the games that we've had, how the defense has been put in some situations where they had to step up, and that senior leadership and that defense has really helped the Stars here since that game with Western.
Yeah, and another key for this Western Boone Stars, anytime you talk to Coach Pelly of Western Boone, and Coach Pelly, of course, he's won 62 games with this program, only lost 20 since 2013, since he's been the head coach of the Stars. And if you ask him, just anytime you'd ask him, how the Stars going to win this game, he's going to say it's going to start with trench play, with his offensive line and his defensive line, and how they perform down low, how they can get to the quarterback, how they can get those tackles for a loss, and the offense, like we said, keeping those holding penalties at bay and protecting quarterback Spencer Wright. And there we'll just look at some of the stats for Spencer Wright. He's performed very well so far this year, and really since he took over for the program in the middle of freshman year, so far through 10 games this year, he's got a completion percentage 63%. He's attempted 100 passes, of course, 63 completions, almost 1,000 yards. He only needs a 5-yard pass to eclipse that mark today. But the big thing, he's thrown 18 touchdowns, Brett, and only 3 interceptions. He's been very, very efficient with the ball. Last week he went 3 for 5. He only threw 5 times, and They blew out Southmont. So some of these games, he's not going to have a huge stat total, but if you watch him, he's just so amazing. The plays he can create, the way he uses his legs, and how many touchdowns he can put up as well. Speaking of those legs, 62 carries, which is only one less than his completions.
Right.
411 yards, and he has 13 touchdowns on the year. And he's been so efficient, like I mentioned, running on the ground and using his arm when they need to, which hasn't been a whole lot this season.
Well, and the thing about Western Boone is they use the run to tee off on the pass. But the thing is, they have the quarterback and they have the line to give him time. He can move a little bit right or left. If he needs to take off, he will. But if he needs to get the ball to Garrity or Hole or whoever he needs to get it to, if he's got the time, he can get that done. I did watch out here. North Putnam won the toss, deferred to the second half. Western Boone will take the ball, and they will go from left to right. So they'll go from north to south. And I think we're getting ready for the national anthem.
At the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming.
To get along with.
We're back here. Nathaniel, Finch, Brett Kading up here for WBTV Sports, and we got a game in front of us. The Western Boone Stars, North Putnam Cougars. For those of you just joining us, this is the second round of Sectional 37 in the 2A IHSAA football tournament. And here we're about to get underway at North Putnam High School.
Yeah, again, North Putnam won the toss, deferred to the second half, and they will kick from south to north, and Western Boone will go from north to south here. And we're outside of Roachdale and Bainbridge, Indiana. Which it used to be the Bainbridge Pointers and the Roachdale Hawks. And now they've got the North Putnam Cougars here.
A nice 41 degrees out, clear skies, and the ball is up in the air, returned by... Looked like there might have been a flag or something. Stoudemire was the one that returned that. As play just abruptly stopped once it landed in Stoudemire's hands. Western Boone, they're wearing white. They're receiving the ball, as you mentioned. And the dark-colored North Putnam Cougars.
So we'll get a mulligan here maybe and a do-over. Groundhog's Day here at North Putnam High School.
All right, here we go. Back at it again. The kicker for North Putnam is number 9, Skylar Warren. And here goes his kick. Hopefully this one stands.
Great evening for football.
We've got Hull and Stoudemire back to receive. This one to go to Hull, that is, number 24. Bit of a slip, and now he's off to the races over to the far side of the field. He's got a few blocks in front of him. Connor Hull is at the 40-yard line, and now to the 30. Cuts up field. He's got before he's down, he had a lot of blockers in front of him, and finally he's brought down after a huge return. And the Stars will take over 1st and 10 on offense for the first time tonight.
Trying to see here. It looked like it was for North Putnam. Skylar Warren on the tackle.
The kicker, the last line of defense, and here comes this offense for the Stars. We'll show you their starters here in just a moment after this quick replay. And you just see the return by... Here comes the play. Right, he's going to take it himself up the middle, looking for some blocking. Doesn't get it, has to get a few yards on his own. He gets a couple before he's brought down. The scramble will be good for, I don't know, maybe 2 yards.
Junior Robert Green on the tackle there. We've got a clear 40 degrees here this evening, a lot nicer than it was last night. There's a little bit of a breeze, south breeze at 8 miles per hour.
So here after Wright used his legs on the first play of the game, he likes to do that quite a bit as he'll move around in the pocket plenty throughout the night. Here comes this offense back out to the line of scrimmage. You'll see number 16, Brett Wethington, lined up in the pistol for the running back position. He's back this week. He gets the handoff up the middle, off to the races. Finally brought down by Warren, the same guy that saved the touchdown earlier, Skylar Warren.
But boy, not until he gets a first down. Already 10:53 to go here in this first period of play, and Western Boone gets the ball, and they're driving inside the 10-yard line.
Well, it helps to have a huge return like what Hull gave us. Now they're in the red zone. Wethington, as I mentioned, he missed the last couple weeks with that strained hamstring. He's back in now and looks to be at full force. Here's the heavy set formation. Man in motion's march before the flag goes up in the air. Dead ball. So we'll wait here in just a minute and see what they call it. Encroachment against the Cougars will give us half the distance to the goal. And now we've got 3rd and 3. 3rd and goal. Here's this heavy set formation right under center. He's got Wethington, the lone back. Handoff goes to the left side as Wethington. He's initially brought down but moves forward, lunges for a gain of 2 or 3 right to the goal line.
And again on the tackle, Skylar Warren, the senior, 6'1".
So we'll see a second down, 2nd and goal from about the 1-yard line. Spencer Wright pushes up the middle with quarterback keeper.
And I think they're going to call it down just outside of the goal line.
Wright does like to go for those quarterback sneaks. That time maybe that's one of his least amount gains from that quarterback sneak. He usually gets quite a bit from those. Here he goes again, up this time above the pile. Does he get it?
I don't believe
Spencer
they're going to
Wright.
give it to him.
They're going to stop him at the goal line again.
Boy, now it's 4th down. Let's see where they're marking it. It's going to be about 4th down and 3 or 4 inches.
And you got to wonder, does Spencer Wright run it up the middle again on this next play?
Well, I'll tell you what, the way Wethington was running the ball, I'm almost give it to him and let him punch a hole in there.
He's done well to this point. First game action in a couple weeks. Let's see. Spencer Wright under center. He will hand it left side and a wide open hole in for the touchdown. Western Boone. That's Brett Wethington, his first game back. Number 16, the senior captain, gets in and puts 6 points up on the board off of a wide open touchdown run. He only needed 3 or 4 inches, like you said, and he got all of that after what seemed to be his first step without any contact.
Oh yeah, went left. Everybody on the left-hand side blocked to the right, pushed everybody in, and gave him that
lane. He just goes
lane.
outside.
Yeah.
He was pushed back after he initially crossed the goal line. So here's Jake Taylor and this extra point team. Foster the long snapper. Durbin's the holder. The snap's away. Hold is down. Kick is up. It is through. It's good. At a point. 7-0 is your score now. Let's take a look at that replay here again, as such an easy job there is Weddington. It just doesn't have to do a whole lot. We'll take a look here once again. Finally just crosses the plane, and then he's brought back, but not until he did cross for the touchdown. The guy that brought him back, Caleb Lawrence, the senior wide receiver defensive back for this team. He's a big captain. So there you go, Brett, 7-0. Nice way to start this one for the Stars, and we'll see what North Putnam has to respond shortly.
It all started off with a great return by Hull to get him inside in good field position against North Putnam.
So now here we've got the kicker. Elliot Young's going to be the one to kick after Hayden Woodruff.
Looks like you got 30 and 1 back. So you got Scott Proctor back for North Putnam, and Caleb Lawrence.
So here, just
in a minute. Scott Proctor is senior.
He is, and here in just
so
a minute,
Lawrence.
We'll be able to see the quarterback Maverick Summers, number 7 for the Cougars, try to answer to the short field position score from the Stars and Spencer Wright. Handoff to Wethington. Puts the first points up on the board. Here's the next possession. Proctor, he'll pick this up and will be met immediately after taking just a few steps. He's thrown to the ground from the pile, and that one will come up a gain of 4 or 5. And we got a quick scoring update already. Lewis Cass, they're getting right to work. 13-0 is their score against Rochester. And here's some stats from Summers. You see his completion percentage. It's similar to Wright's. It's 58%. Wright's is around that 63 mark.
And Rochester,
2,000 yards.
Rochester, the Zebras. That's what they call themselves.
1st and 10. It'll just be a handoff up the middle. There's Aiden Baker, the star running back here for the Cougars.
Looked like Austin Bowman on the stop for Western Boone.
So here's the next play. A pass, batted up, and dropped to the ground. No one able to pull it down, so incomplete. Stops the clock, and we'll set up 3rd down now. We'll take a look at the starting lineup here for the Cougars offense. We mentioned Summers already. We've got Baker at running back. Keep an eye on Scott Proctor and Lucius Alexander out wide. The team likes to run with a couple tight ends every now and then. We'll see those guys. And, of course, a starting offensive line you could see down there as well. So here from the shotgun formation, 3 receivers set. Looking back to passes. Summers throws this one incomplete. Falls to the turf through the hands of his intended receiver,
Lawrence.
Which is number 30, Caleb Lawrence. So we'll see a 4th and 9 punt here, presumably from North Putnam.
And that a good stop by Western Boone. Set the tone of the ball game, and I believe as that hole that's back again for Western Boone. Single man back.
The punt is away, a nice far punt. Hull will return it right around the 40-yard line. He's going to have a few blockers in front of him. A nice stiff arm there. He gets to the 50-yard line and into enemy territory right around the 40, the 44, 46-yard line in that area.
13-yard pickup on that, and Hull doing a great job of catching that ball on the run. And now Spencer Wright and the Stars take over again in great field position.
Yeah, and I would like to apologize with some mess-ups with our scoring system. Lewis Cass, they only scored 7 points, so 13 was incorrect. 7-0 against Rochester. And here's this pistol formation offense. Spencer Wright going to look to hand it off up the middle. Wethington, he's met with initial contact by the guy who's been on seemingly every play, Skylar Warren.
Because they were mentioning his name a lot.
Warren, the 6'1", 210-pound senior linebacker. You saw him as the kicker get in on the tackle to stop the touchdown earlier. So now with under 8 minutes, Spencer Wright's going to head his team out on the field. Looks like some personnel changes. Likely going to see a heavier set formation. We'll see for sure once they head out to the line. And sure enough, under center with Wethington, the running back, man in motion, out to Baird. Baird to the right side. He's got some blocking in front of him. Flag is down near the line of scrimmage, right in that holding territory.
That's what I was going to say. I'm afraid it may be a hold.
Nevertheless, the first down was picked up. We'll see what this penalty is called here in just a moment.
Peyton Patterson in there. 6'4", 275.
It was a nice
defensive
run.
end, yeah.
That one will be called back. But before the penalty, it was a pretty nice run from the freshman, whose 15th carry of the year, Casey Baird. That would have been his longest run of the season with right around 12 yards. But instead, well, we move back 10 yards and start over. Now
and that puts the ball on the other side of the 50-yard line.
It's only about 5 yards away from where Connor Hull originally fielded the kick, so his work taken down by that penalty. But it's good to have your penalties earlier in the game rather than later. Trips formation, top of the screen, handoff will be Wethington running fiercely up the middle. He's stopped by this defense of the Cougars. And a nice stop there by the defensive line.
And a great crowd here tonight. Western Boone, good following here this evening. North Putnam with a great crowd here as well.
Here in just a moment, let's take a look at this offense for the Traveling Stars. Spencer Wright, the main man under center. Wethington, you see, returning to the lineup. Wide receivers, Garrity and Hull, the two main guys there. And, of course, that really nice offensive line for Western Boone. Looking back to pass now, throws this one deep. He's got Stoudemire. All he had to do is reach his arms out, but he didn't. Watch that one drop right in front of him, incomplete. Stoudemire knows he let one get by him.
Yes, he did.
And we'll head back and set up 3rd and 17 here. 4th down, that is, and we'll see the punt teams head out on the field after what could have been a touchdown from Stoudemire.
Yep, 6:30 to go here, 6:39 to go here in this first period of play, and it's a 7-0 lead for Western Boone.
And if this Stars offense has a weak spot, it's at the wide receiver position. Stoudemire normally plays cornerback. He had to come in this year as the wing back, and they're not able to track the deep ball properly. Here's the punt from Haisong. Returned last week after an injury kept him out as well. And a nice Western Boone roll from the ball. We'll set up.
Inside the 20. Good roll. Sometimes it pays off to punt in front of them a little bit, and hopefully they'll let it roll. And, of course, with as much rain, I mean, down in this area, we've had probably 2 or 2.5 inches of rain here in the last 4 or 5 days, and you're just not going to get much roll on the field.
2A Triton Central, they're up 6-0 against Paoli. We've got 3A Bishop Chatard and North Montgomery. They're battling. Bishop Chatard already up to a 6-0 lead, and Danville up 6 against West Vigo as well.
No, and we got a penalty on Western Boone here, offside, I believe. It is. So that's a 5-yard penalty. So now instead of 1st and 10, it'll be 1st and 5 for the Cougars.
Maverick Summers, he's in the shotgun position. Looking to throw this one. This one's batted up, and the second straight pass from Summers is batted up. Jake Jones looked like one of the guys to get his hand up in that one.
Yep, it was.
Now this Stars team, they went earlier in the season of having just a core group of 4 or 5 guys on their defensive line. Now we see a lot more guys rotating in, namely number 54, Casey Foster, that is, 58, Jake Jones. Those guys seeing a lot more playing time from down there. You've got, of course, after jumped off sides.
Freeman. That was Freeman. We'll see what if it's going to be. It is. But Freeman he was almost in the backfield there on that. So now it's back to 2nd and 10.
That it is. So quickly, Shenandoah and Cecina, pretty crucial matchup for these two teams here. Cecina is in the regional of Western Boone and North Putnam. Cecina's down already, 7-0 against Shenandoah. And Paoli scores back, so the Rams now up 8-0 against Triton Central. And here's a shotgun pass. He's met with heavy pressure, brought down.
That was number 8 for Western Boone.
Really nice job by Luke Marsh getting in the backfield and getting the sack. That sets up
Marsh doing a great job on that.
That'll
that's
set up
That's one of those cases where they didn't have enough blockers to take on the guys that were coming in on him, and just didn't give him time.
Yeah, Luke Marsh, that's his 4th sack on the year. He's been able to get into the backfield quite a bit this year, though, from his outside linebacker spot. And here we got a timeout from North Putnam.
Yep.
So that timeout.
Third and 17.
They'll be down for a minute. We'll be gone just for 30 seconds and be back here in a moment on WBTV Sports.
Meet Tommy. Tommy's not sure which sport he will play in high school someday. But no matter what he ends up choosing, playing sports in high school will help pave the way to a happier, healthier life. All Tommy needs to do is make up his mind. High school sports. Pure spirit, pure sport. Pure launching pad for life.
Back here at North Putnam High School, and earlier we were talking about how Lewis Cass, they had 13 points. Oh, no, only 7. Well, they scored again. 14-0 now is their score. Lewis Cass over Rochester. Lewis Cass, the number 2 team in 2A. Western Boone, number 1. All right, well, here's this North Putnam offense backed up long 3rd and 17, and another flag flies.
And I think it's going to be on North Putnam as well.
The cornerbacks not on the line of scrimmage. They're throwing their hands up in distress.
Oh, no, it's going to be on. It'll be offsides on Western Boone.
We might be here all night if these teams keep going back and forth like this. A gain of 5, a loss of 5, a sack, and then another gain of 5, and penalties. They're killing these teams right now. A lot of pressure. He's sacked. Brought down is Summers for a loss.
Loss of about 3. So it's going to be 4th down and 15.
And this punting team, of course, coming out now in the defensive red zone, you might call it, inside the 15-yard line now.
Right, and the hole's going to be inside Cougar territory to receive the punt.
We'll see where this punt travels. Hole will have to back up a little bit. Returns this one right around the 48-yard line. He's got to use quick feet flag on the play. He's at the 40, now the 35, before he's brought down around the 31-yard line. And that flag here on the near side of the field around the 40-yard line, closest to us. We'll see what that one is. Those special teams plays, those flags usually go against the return team. We'll see on this one. It will be a holding against Western Boone. But you saw here, looks like credited with a sack might even be number 48 of the Stars, as he got onto the tail end of that drop. Nice job by Dakota Halford. So here's the holding penalty. We'll bring the Stars back. They said the spot of the foul is where it will be assessed. So after standing inside Cougar territory, now the Stars, they're going to be backed up in their own territory, but still near midfield, 48-yard line, to start their offense out on their 3rd drive today after the touchdown rush by Wethington and then a punt. See what they can do here. North Putnam's defense playing very well up the middle. Looking to pass. Throws this one past the chains. That one's incomplete after being intended for Connor Garrity, and on the coverage was Caleb Lawrence, number 30, the senior.
Yeah, Lawrence did a great job of running with Garrity down the sideline. And you're not going to get, it's one of those things, unless it is really a flagrant type foul, you're not going to get just a little token flag anymore, because we're in sectional play now.
Yeah, and the size difference there from that receiver matchup. Connor Garrity is quite a bit bigger than the guy that was covering him, the 5'9", Caleb Lawrence. Here's the rush up the middle. He'll get a gain of a few before he will be brought down. Wethington gets a gain of...
Oh, I take it back. It's 30. Sorry about that.
Caleb Iron.
That's Iron.
Iron, who had a 100-yard game the first time that Wethington was out. He performed admirably last week as well Iron with that carry. He's got around 220 yards on the year and a touchdown.
Yeah, they've got him in the backfield now.
Some jumping off sides, and will be landing back on his rear end. Timeout. Excuse me, a penalty will be called. It's interzone infraction against North Putnam.
Be close to a first down.
And here we go again, moving this one forward. Not even a loud crowd right now, and there's some jumping off sides over and over from both these teams.
Well, it's like a prize fight. Everybody's just trying to feel each other out right now, and these jitters. They know this is a big game, and the winner moves on, the loser goes home.
Yeah, Summers has 50 carries of his own from the quarterback position. Wright, of course, as we mentioned earlier, has over 60. These two teams will take off and run, so getting to the quarterback early is a priority. Here's the toss out that play earlier, and now brought down after he gets the first down, number 22, Casey Baird. And that one is his longest play of the year. Baird, the freshman, hasn't seen a whole lot of time, but does a nice job there. Sophomore, that is. Doesn't see the ball a lot, excuse me. He does see a lot of playing time from the wing position.
And boy, Garrity's clear out there, wide out on the left.
Handoff is to Taylor. Taylor up the middle for a few on the nice first down run. And quite a few North Putnam Cougars in on the pile. And really, the middle of the defense for North Putnam, they've played really well so far today. Early in this game, the Stars, they will beat you every single week if you let them run up the middle. And here they're not able to early in this one, aside from the touchdown to the outside.
And this would be huge. We're down to 3:30 to go here in this first period of play. 7-0, Western Boone.
Looking to pass, play action, throws this one down the sideline. Is it
caught?
Nope. They say they caught it out of bounds. And that was Connor Garrity who had it originally. He bobbled it, then he caught it, but the referees say it was out of bounds. We'll give
Boy, he also had a hole straight up the middle of the field, wide open.
Let's take a look at this catch here off of the play action. It looked like he might have had his feet in bounds. Let me see what I can do to show that one again after this next play. Here's a heavy set formation. Baird in motion. It'll be tossed out to him to the left side. Casey Baird with his third carry of the game. He gets a first down before he's finally brought down near the 15-yard line in the red zone is Western Boone. And now let's see if we can take a look at that last play
nice
earlier.
To see that.
So we'll move this one forward some and take a look there. The ball looked like he had that one. We'll take a look at it again from this angle in just a moment. And it really looked to me like that might have been a catch. Not a big deal, though, as the Stars are now in that area. Anyway, here's a heavy set formation. Taylor in the backfield. It'll be a handoff to Taylor. Bounces outside before he's brought down. Barrels through for a gain of a couple. And Taylor bring up second down after a gain of, we'll call it 4. And now the Stars, they have the ball, they have the lead. And they're in the red zone with 2:30 up on the clock in the first.
Second down and a long 6 for Western Boone here.
Heavy set formation right under center. He's got
Garrity.
Taylor. Man in motion's Hull. It's a toss out to Hull to the right side. Hull has seen a couple touchdowns with this play. Flag is thrown, and he'll be brought out of bounds with a nice tackle from number 21 of North Putnam. Brings him out of bounds. Connor Hull, the rusher.
This may be on Garrity. He was locked up here on the outside.
We'll see here in just a second what the referees will decide.
Yeah, they're walking backwards. It was holding on Garrity.
And there we've already seen quite a few penalties so far early in the game.
Yeah, both these teams back and forth. Boy, I tell you what, then now that makes it a second and almost 20 for Western Boone. And after that first drive of seeing Wellington out there, we've not seen Wellington since. But you got to feel good about how he did on that first drive.
Yeah, after missing some time, he's back playing hopefully in full form, maybe a little sore as it was a hamstring injury, looking to pass his right. He looks to the end zone, floats this one high up. It is caught. There's a flag on the play, but.
And Hull caught that, and that was number 11. That was Kevin Barger, the junior.
Oh, there's
back
multiple flags on the play.
A plethora, a potpourri of flags.
Well, it was a really nice lob up by Wright. Let Hull bring it down.
And Hull did a good job of bringing it in.
That's a touchdown.
Yes.
Yeah, Western Boone adds 6 more up on the board with the touchdown pass from Wright to Hull on the declined penalty pass interference. And Connor Hull with another touchdown reception this year. He's had quite a few touchdown receptions so far.
And I tell you what,
that's number 8.
They gave him time, but he didn't have much more time to get that ball away.
So here's the kick. Jake Taylor just puts this one through the uprights. Another extra point made by number 43, the freshman kicker of the Stars. And there you go, 14-0 is your score. Let's take a look at the replay from this lob up from Spencer Wright. That same play action pass, throws this one right as he's hit. And, of course, you saw the pass interference there. Nice catch from Connor Hull with the defender draped all over the front of him.
Well, that's what I was saying. I tell you what, Spencer Wright, just not much time to get that away. Just enough. They gave him just enough time to get that ball away and get that touchdown. Minute and 50 seconds to go here in this first quarter of play.
Yeah, and the play that almost set this one up before it was called back and really gave the Stars something to a little more oomph on their drive was that what really looked like a catch from Garrity. And now the Stars, nevertheless, they'll punch this one into the end zone via the hands of Connor Hull. And now with a minute 50 left in the first, the Stars will be kicking this one off with Elliott Young. Kickoff duties for the first time this year after an injury to Hayden Woodruff, the senior kicker for the Stars, the kickoff specialist. This kick is a high kick towards the near sideline. It's picked up by Proctor. Proctor near the 30-yard line has to switch field position before he's brought down by Caleb Iron.
Iron did a great job of catching up with him, and that keeps it back around the 25-yard line, 26-yard line of North Putnam.
Now we've seen some key plays the last few plays from the Stars from players like Wright, from Hull, you just saw Iron there. Let's take a look at the all-conference athletes for the Sagamore Conference. First team, Spencer Wright, Brett Wethington, Casey Foster, Luke Marsh, Connor Hull, and Caleb Freeman. They are all first-team all-conference athletes for the Sagamore Conference. And for second team, you've got Stoudemire, Caleb Iron there, Max Johnson, and Jake Jones, Clayton Heislong, and finally Robbie Taylor, second-team athletes in the Sagamore Conference. Here's the handoff left side. He gets a gain of just a couple is Aiden Baker. And as for North Putnam, they've got a few all-conference athletes of their own. Aiden Baker, you just saw him in on the rush. You have Adam Amons, Skylar Warren, and the quarterback Maverick Summers. They've all made it onto the Western Indiana all-conference list. Here's the pass play. Throws over to the far side before it's intercepted. Connor Hull off the hands of Caleb Lawrence, and the Stars have the ball in near the 30-yard line. For the second time today, they're in very nice field position. The 30-yard line off of an unfortunate bounce off the hands of Lawrence. Let's take a look at that play here. And what was a pretty designed play, just too high of a ball. It bounces up. And
talk about being at the right place at the right time.
And there are two straight nice catches from Connor Hull. The first one on offense and the second one on defense. A nice interception there. Sets up this Western Boone offense. Wethington in the pistol. Right, looking to throw. Lobs this one up. Lets his receiver go up and get it through.
He got it.
He caught it. Is Garrity. Connor Garrity with a nice gain. Brings this one inside the 5-yard line. And after one play from Connor Garrity, the Stars, they're knocking on the end zone for the third time today. And really what a play from Connor Hull to,
yes.
like you said, be in the right time, right place in the right time, the awareness he had, and the interception to set up that pass from Garrity. We'll take a look at that one now. Garrity with the touchdown catch, or with the red zone catch, that is. Here's back to the play. Handoff. Wethington lowers his shoulder. He'll be stopped short.
And how big, we're down to about 35 seconds to go here in this first period, so they can run the clock off and not take another snap here in this first quarter with a 14-0 lead, but Western Boone looking to try to string this out to a 21-0 lead against North Putnam.
That's the third interception this year for Connor Hull. The team lead is at 4 with Stoudemire. Taylor's the man in the backfield. He'll get the handoff up the middle, pushes this one through. The hands are up. The points are up. Third touchdown of the game. The Stars come out to a 20-0 lead in just the first quarter. The big man, Robbie Taylor, his hands and his legs bring you to the end zone. And the Stars, they're up by 3 touchdowns. Pending this extra point, could make it 21.
Wow, 21 big points here in this first quarter of play. And this off of a turnover. Getting points off of the turnover is huge for any team. There's the hold, the snap. It's up. It looks good. It is. So now it's a 21-0 lead for Western Boone.
And this game,
I tell you what, he's doing a good job. The holder's doing a good job getting the ball down. He's doing a good job of kicking it. And, that's what you want. You want your kicker to be feeling good about himself on these extra points. I happened to be at the Colts game on Sunday and saw Vinatieri miss a field goal attempt, miss an extra point. So at the end of the ball game, coming down to the end, there he is. He's missed 2, one of the best field goal kickers of all time, and he gets a 53-yard attempt to win it. They could have been up by 3. They were down by 2. Or down by 1, excuse me, and then the Colts end up winning that. So it's all about confidence, and it's good to have a kicker that has that kind of confidence, and he does here for Western Boone.
Yeah, and so far he's been pretty efficient there, kicking field goals, and he's done a nice job after coming in after some struggles early in the season from a couple other kickers. Jake Taylor, he has made now he's attempted 38 PATs. He's made 34 of them, and he's done a really nice job, around 95%.
And that
Here's
wind's
Elliot
right
Young.
at him there.
Elliot Young with the kickoff. End over end, that'll be caught right around the 20-yard line by Proctor. He gets out of the bounds near the 30-yard line, and a flag comes out after the efforts to bring him out of bounds by Trent Christner. Might see a flag on that tackle there.
Oh, the out of bounds. And again, 4.8 seconds left to go in this first quarter of play. But boy, the Colts, I just heard today, I don't know if you were listening to any stations while you were coming over here, but I heard today that T.Y. Hilton is not going to be available and may miss more than 1 game. And boy, how huge is that going up against the Steelers this week?
Yeah, that game, that could be up to 4 to 6 week absence from T.Y. Hilton with lower leg injury. And Hilton's been a warrior for the Colts. Let's hope he has a pretty quick recovery, returns to the field soon. Back to IHSAA Sectional 37 football for 2A. 21-0 is the score. Maverick and his team, they're down. Summers the quarterback. Handoff. That's over to the left side. A big gain. Still moving. Finally dropped after he gets a 4th down. Nice job. First down picked up by Baker, and that'll be the end of the first quarter of play.
On the stop there.
21 points scored in the first quarter, and we'll take a break here and be back in 30 on WBTV Sports.
I don't think of this as a high school weight room. It's more like a high school classroom. I'm learning how to manage my time here. I'm learning that it's important to have goals and that it takes persistence and commitment to reach them. And I'm learning that the best way to lead is by example.
Indiana High School Sports. They're more than just a game.
Come and see me play.
We're back here. I'm Nathaniel Finch, Brett Kading to my right, and there's a few scoring updates here to keep an eye on. The winner of this game plays the winner of Cascade and South Vermilion, as we've mentioned earlier. In Cascade right now, they're on the road. They're up 10-7 against South Vermilion. Okay. Eastbrook and Tipton, a pretty big 2A game on the other side of the tournament bracket of this one here. Eastbrook's up 7-0. Danville 14, West Vigo 0. And finally, Western is up 6-0 against the Lebanon Tigers.
And I talked to Kenny Kearns earlier this week about South Vermilion and how he felt about them and those guys playing, and he thought it would be a close game with Cascade.
Here's this offense for North Putnam. Another rush, finally dropped. He gets a gain of about 1.5 before he's dropped to the line, and what looked like could have been a pretty big gain as he was running pretty hard towards the middle of the defense. Brought down after a big gain, a 10-yard gain last play that the Baker had the ball in his hands. Aiden Baker does it all at the running back position. Here's Maverick Summers, quarterback. He gets a call in from his coach. Man in motion there. You saw number 3. Don't have a number 3 on the roster. Now dropping back to pass, looking left with pressure, runs out to his right side, drops his shoulder, taking off to run.
Good run and
He'll
a flag.
dive forward. He gets a nice gain of 2 or 3 after what could have been a nice loss of 4 or 5 in the flag on the play.
3 might be Patterson. It shows him a 3 or 59. Let's see here. Okay, so it is Patterson on number 3. Oh, so a face mask penalty against Western Boone ties on some extra yardage there for the Cougars. Of course, South Vermilion, they had been defeated by Seeger earlier in the season in a big rain game and then go to Seeger and get a big win. So them being at home, it's going to be interesting to see how they do as far as going on in this evening.
Yeah, down by 3 against Cascade. Looking to come back. Not a big deficit there. Still plenty of ball game to play left in the first half. And some men move. The flag goes out. False start, North Putnam. And there must be something down there that we can't hear because it seems like every other play we've got one of those mistakes from the offensive line. That one was the running back and the fullback went in motion too early and flinched. Well, that moves us back 5 yards, 2nd and 6 now. Under 11 minutes left in the first half. Down by 3 touchdowns are the Cougars.
Yeah, Cougars need a play here. They just need to get in down there and get a score.
Bad snap. That's picked up still, and the catch pushed out of bounds. Look like number 12 of North Putnam, Lucius Alexander, the senior, 6-foot wide receiver. Will move the chains for North Putnam, something that hadn't happened a whole lot so far today. The second time on this drive, first down.
Stoudemire pushed him out of bounds there.
And a timeout will be called after a lot of confusion running back and forth from this Western Mid team. They'll call the timeout, and we'll call a timeout as well and be back in 30 here on WBTV Sports.
Are you a fan of exciting action, great sporting atmosphere, and good displays of sportsmanship?
I am definitely a fan.
High school sports, pure spirit, pure sport, pure entertainment value. Are you a fan of amazing spirit, incredible drama, and affordable ticket prices?
I'm definitely a fan.
High school sports, pure spirit, pure sport, pure entertainment value.
We're back here. We as in Nathaniel Finch and Brett Kading. Matt Foxworthy up running the camera. Austin Smothers, our technical director today. And down on the field, 21-0 is your score. The team on defense has the points. North Putnam, they're ready to set back out and try to put something on the board here early in the second quarter before this game slips too far out of hand.
Nice to see Matt back from the Caribbean, and wish he would have brought some warm weather with him. I can't believe that he came back up here and was doing this to us, snow yesterday. So He ought to be up there freezing, right, after going on vacation.
He deserves it. Everyone else that was out in the 90-degree weather on vacation, now they get to come up and be met with snow, as you mentioned. Here's a handoff to Baker over to the left side. He gets a gain of just 1 or 2. And here we go, this Danville-West Vigo game.
Yeah.
Danville, they got a safety against them. 14-2 is the score now.
The West Vigo Vikings, I've been down there several times to do ball games.
Triton Central 13, the Paoli Rams are 8, and here another flag. Holy cow, Brett, I'm not exaggerating when I say there's one every other play.
Another false start, and I'll tell you what, I was watching Caleb Freeman, and he spotted that right off the bat, and they had to throw that flag. But, he's teeing off on and somebody's nervous about that account, and they're trying to pick up those guys for Western Boone that are coming in and blitzing, and they're just having a hard time.
The snap, looking to pass, has to tuck it before he's brought down for a loss of yards. Nice job there by number 5, Clayton Hysong.
Hysong on a really good sack and a loss there, where it's 3rd down and 15 now.
So we've had 2 occurrences now where the quarterback Summers tuck it and tried to scramble. Both of those ended up being sacks. One by Hysong there, who's done a really nice job, like we said, 2nd team all-conference. That's his 3rd and a half sack of the year. Earlier we saw Marsh with his 4th sack of the year. Here's the snap. Another soft snap. Throws this one deep. He's got a man open. Is caught by Scott Proctor.
Catch.
And man down on the ground for the Stars.
And that is Austin Bowman.
What looks maybe just to be a cramp. He gets up. He's going to jog off on his own power.
Yep.
You see 84. Hopefully he'll be okay, but in a little bit of distress.
Austin Bowman went up with the receiver, but boy, I'll tell you what, a great job on getting that catch and bringing it down.
And that it was. We'll take a look at the replay here. And what was a really nice catch.
And that's what North Putnam needed to do. North Putnam needed to get a big play like that. And, boy, now they're spreading it out. They got a wide out left, wide out right.
Looking, throws this one over. He's in. Put points up on the board for North Putnam. A touchdown.
And that was 44 Brooks. Mason Brooks, the junior. I'll tell you what, that was a great play by Summers. They spread the field out, and 44 Brooks went up the middle, wide open. Watch him wide open.
Yeah, what a nice play. Just lobs this one over the line, and it's a really hard pass to defend, is that tight end slant.
And it was Spencer Wright, I believe, that was getting the tackle, but not until it was in the end zone.
21-6. Here's the kick to make it 7 with just over 9 left in the first half. Here comes the kick. This one is up. This one's through. And put another point up on the board as the North Putnam sideline, a sigh of relief after not having to suffer a shutout here.
And I'll tell you what, that's the kind of drive that North Putnam needed. That's the kind of thing that they needed to do to get their spirits back up. And we got 9 minutes to go here in the first half, and it's a 21-7 game.
Now, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, Brett, but this is the first time these two teams have played. And it was last year, a year ago tomorrow, the 3rd round of sectionals, then the championship, in which North Putnam was defeated 49-8. This game looked to be heading that way, but maybe North Putnam is inching closer to keeping it at least close before we move on. We're just going to remind everyone that you can subscribe to this YouTube channel on WBTV Sports. Just press subscribe, press notify, the little notification bell next to the subscribe button, and you'll get a link anytime we go live, so you don't have to worry about going and fishing for it or waiting for us to send that out. It'll go straight to your device, however your settings are set up. Here's the kick. This one a high one. The second row man drops to a knee. And number 11 for Western Boone's the one that goes down and stops play. Mitch Miller seeing his first action in a while after suffering a foot injury early in the season. Bishop Chatard, they're up 28-0 against North Montgomery. Cecina, they retook the lead after 14 unanswered. 14-7 to score. Cecina ahead of Shenandoah. And finally, Danville 21, West Vigo 2. Here is the handoff up the middle is Wethington with a nice truck and gets an extra gain of 1 or 2 with that move. So now the Stars, after letting North Putnam score 7, they're going to try to answer with 7 of their own.
Yeah, Western Boone wants to get some kind of a drive. Got second down. They got 7 to go here.
2nd and 7 play, looking to pass. Throws this one down the field, and what looked to be PI on Cortez Stoudemire will likely move the chains. Stoudemire reached out and was tripped down to the ground.
And that's where Spencer Wright, you got to give, if that's what it is, if it ends up being a pass interference, Spencer Wright saw the opportunity there and saw that the man that he was going to throw to was going to get interfered with, and, you know, that penalty gets them a first down, and that's what they needed.
Spencer Wright plays so smart from that quarterback position. He's been in that position now his 4th year, and him and Coach Pelly of the Stars really are just always on the same page, it seems like. Here's trips, receivers down at the bottom of your screen, Durbin, Hull, and Stoudemire with Garrity at the top. Looking to pass to Garrity, lobs this one high up, lets Garrity go up and get it through his hands, incomplete, out of bounds. That'll stop the clock and set up 2nd and 10 for Western Boone, 21-7 the score. And Garrity, the wide receiver out wide, not able to pull that one in after 3 straight throws to Garrity that have been high lobs, letting him go up and get it with his size. They obviously like the size advantage, trying to pick on the 5'9" Lawrence out wide, and not able to pull that one down that time. He's got one reception this game off of 3 targets.
Now they're going to bring Garrity.
Spread formation, looking to pass again. He's going to have to tuck it and run it himself. No, he wants to throw it. He's got Stoudemire open, throws this one down wide open. Cortez Stoudemire, 20-yard line, now to the 10. He has to go, trips into the end zone, touchdown, Cortez Stoudemire. There is a flag on the play, though, right around the 40-yard line.
That's a
45-yard
reception for a touchdown. When you scramble, that's when you maybe get some players downfield, linemen downfield, things like that.
And that one will go against the Stars, take the points off the board, an eligible man downfield.
Yeah. That's when he thought when he was almost ready to take off, that's when the linemen get beyond the line. And then when he threw the ball, they were too far downfield, and that's how you get those linemen, because they're setting up blocks because they think he's going to rush. And then he found a man open, and it was too late for them. He wasn't across the line, but they were too far down.
What a play made by Wright, though, is he looked like he wanted to scramble. He saw he had a guy in Stoudemire open, throws that one to Stoudemire, and Stoudemire does the rest for what could have been an extra 7 points. Instead, they'll have to retry this one now.
On a situation like that, you can't blame the lineman.
2nd down, throws this one. It's caught in the middle of the field. Hull is tripped up, falls to the ground about a yard from the first down marker. It'll be 3rd and about 1 off of the nice play to get a lot of those yards back from Connor Hull.
Yeah, that's where that's where if you're a lineman, all you're trying to do is protect your quarterback and set a block for him. And then when he throws the ball, there you are in no man's land, and they just need a first down here.
Heavy set. That's a flag on the play. And I'm starting to get tired of seeing so much yellow on the field.
It's not even Monday and all that laundry on the field.
And, it's not like egregious calls from the refs.
No,
it's just bad play from the linemen.
Yeah, from both sides.
Exactly. It's been back and forth here. A lot of penalties. A nice job by the referees getting it all sorted out each play. Heavy set formation. That's Wethington, the man in the backfield. Handoff to Wethington, left side. Wethington powers forward for a gain of about 4. He'll be met initially by what looked like number 79 of the Cougars, Mason Ray, the starting 6'3" defensive end, 245 pounds, brings Wethington down.
As we're getting close to 7 minutes to go here in this first half of play, and it's a 21-7 lead. North Putt trying to answer, or excuse me, Western Boone trying to answer for North Putt's score here just a minute ago.
21-7 is your score, under 7 minutes now. In this offense, looking over their coaching staff, trying to figure out what they want to do. May have to burn a timeout, and they will. Let the clock run down to 1. Call the timeout. Western Boone charged with it, and under 7 minutes, that's their second used timeout. They have 1 left. North Putnam with 2, and we'll take a break here and be back in a bit. I'm Nathaniel Finch. Brett Kading joining me today, and we'll head to a break and be back here in just a few moments on WBTV Sports.
A crisp October evening. A stadium filled with fans. A pass thrown. A journey completed. State of euphoria? No. The state of Indiana. High school sports. Pure spirit. Pure sport. Pure Indiana. This message brought to you by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the high schools in your community.
We're back here onto the field, and where the Stars, they're up by 2 touchdowns. They have the ball. They called a timeout. We're back here as the two teams are about to head back onto the field. And a couple more scoring updates. West Vigo, they scored again. 21-9 is the score there. Similar to this game, but West Vigo, similar to the way North Putnam is playing, not wanting to dip too far under the scoreboard. Bishop Chatard, North Montgomery, that's a 35-point deficit. North Montgomery hasn't scored yet. Running clock there. Handoff to the right side in this game is Wethington with a nice gain and a first down.
Yeah, and Wethington, he's able to do some things that the other running backs aren't able to do, but he's a little bigger of a guy. But I kind of like what they're doing. They're bringing him in, letting him be in for some plays, and then they're taking him out on a drive. I'm sure the coaching staff does not want him to have another injury, especially for, if they're lucky enough to make the sectional final next week.
Heavy set formation, man in motion. It'll be a handoff, reverse left side. Plenty of open field in front of him. Connor Hull, there's a flag on the play. Hull is in, turns around, and sees Laundry on the field.
And it's going to be, that hold is going to be on a guy that didn't even need to hold, and that was 54.
Casey Foster.
Yeah, Foster, they're going to call the hold on him. And he was so far beyond the hold.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that. 54, the center. He's going to be out to the left side. And, a good 5 to 10 yards away from Connor Hull, who can do plenty by himself.
Yeah, he would have never caught Connor Hull. Great misdirection play by Western Boone to give the ball to Hull to go to the left-hand side.
Well, the coaching staff, they're doing their part here in this game, keeping the Stars with play after play, big play. They keep getting called back, and I'm sure that their players are going to hear a lot of pretty fierce words come halftime for both these teams. Heavy set formation. Out. It'll be a toss out to the right side, and Casey Baird, looks like he fumbled the ball. We'll see what the referees call here. Casey Baird, the wing back in on the rush.
They're going to call it down by contact on the ground. That's what they're going to call it.
Yeah, second and short. Western Boone will be set up.
They're going to mark it about the 11, so he's going to be about 3-4 yards short. So that's what they call it. They call it down by contact with the ground.
5 minutes, 20 seconds, 2nd and 4 in the second quarter. 21-7 is the score. Number 7 under center, Spencer Wright. Handoff, that same misdirection play. This time it's Connor Hull again. Connor piling forward, and he gets a touchdown. I'm looking for some Laundry. I don't see any. This one will stand. 27-7 is your temporary score with 5:06 left in the second. Connor Hull with his second touchdown of the game. 1 through the air, 1 on the ground. An interception. Connor Hull putting up some good numbers here, and we'll take a look at the replay of that one right before we move to the extra point.
The misdirection that they do.
That exact same play, the wing back and Hull, and he powers his way, breaks a few tackles, last line of defense, was number 9, Skylar Warren, not able to bring that one through.
And
here,
you see Foster was there blocking, but he wasn't holding anybody that time.
That's right, and guess what? They scored 28-7. The PAT is good from Jake Taylor, and just a nice play from Connor Hull as he's had a few of those piled up so far this game, putting himself in the front runner so far for the player of the game if this keeps going in the trajectory that we see there on the field. And you saw Coach Carnes of North Putnam talking to his players, trying to rally the troops. Now down 3 touchdowns again. Last time they were in this position, well, they scored 7 points. Let's see if they can do it again. Quick update, Cascade, they score 7, 17-7 to score against South Vermilion. Of course, that game we're waiting to see for the winner of this game as well. We'll play each other next week. As for Triton Central and Paoli, 20-8 is the score there, back and forth.
You have a South Vermilion Cascade, did you say?
Yep, that game was 17-7.
17-7. So Cascade putting it on South Vermilion at home.
Cascade has a turf field, so in the event that these teams travel to Cascade next week, there'll be some nice facilities, brand new turf on their football field, baseball diamond, softball diamond, some nice facilities over there building up in Cascade. Here's the kick by Young, recovered by Proctor. Proctor to the left side before he's knocked to the deck by a slew of stars, one of which was number 32, Josh Benson, Robbie Taylor in on the play as well. And now we'll have 5:01 on the clock left. North Putnam, they have plenty of time to mount a drive, but they're going to have to take it the distance after this one stopped right around the 28-yard line. They'll need quite a bit.
But a good job by Western Boone to answer the touchdown from North Putnam. I mean, that's what they needed to do. They went back and they answered that score.
Here's the quarterback, Summers, handoff to Baker. Baker up the middle. He finds a nice hole and dives through it. He'll pick up about 4 or 5 yards there. There's Baker, Aiden Baker, one of the leaders here. Of course, we mentioned the all-conference selection. And here North Putnam getting back to the line of scrimmage quickly. That'll be a toss to Baker. Baker is going to cut it back inside. He's got field in front of him. He will be brought down by Austin Bowman.
Who's back in the ball game.
Good to see that
Austin back in there.
And moving the chains is North Putnam trying to put together a drive here. Back up to the line of scrimmage quickly with 4.5 minutes left before they head to the locker room. They get the call from the coaches, and from the shotgun formation, 2 receivers set and a fullback. That'll be a handoff. Just barely gets it off is Aiden Baker. Baker gets a nice gain of 7 or 8 on that play before he's brought down by Connor Hull and Austin Bowman again. A lot getting up almost to the second level, and you see those second-level defensive players getting in on the tackle as this hurry-up is leaving the Stars' defensive line pretty gassed. That'll be a first down run by Baker. Baker gets 3 or 4 yards as he piles forward. He'll be helped up, and a nice job there to move the chains again. 3:54 up on the clock. First and 10 situation again inside enemy territory. The Cougars now looking to pass. Throws this one high and deep. Stoudemire with an interception. Stoudemire gets his hand down. He's still up, running now at the 40-yard line. Changes field position. He's at the 50-yard line now. He's got blockers in front of him. If they can hold the penalties, then Cortez Stoudemire will go in. And I'm scanning the field.
Me too, looking for flags, looking for laundry. No, there's nothing there.
Cortez Stoudemire with a huge interception returned all the way for a touchdown. And this Stars defense also putting in their part here, 34-7. Your score last week for the Stars was 35-7. Here comes the PAT, and we'll show you a replay after that. Here's a PAT by Jake Taylor. We mentioned it's Casey Foster's the snapper, the holder, Reese Durbin. And an 80-yard interception return from Stoudemire. We'll show you that here in just a minute after this kick is up, and it is through. perfect 5 for 5 is Jake Taylor and the Stars with 5 touchdowns, 35-7. And Stoudemire, he plays his best ball on defense, and here he gets a nice play there. We'll take a look at it as
which your point after kicker is going to have to ice that leg down at halftime. He's been doing a great job.
Let's take a look at the replay here. As after a few run plays, they just lob this one up, and a bad throw by Summers, who's made a lot of good throws so far this year. Stoudemire does a nice job, and look at the blocks up here from Connor Hull, watching his guy, and just puts his shoulder there into number 30, Caleb Lawrence. And the 80-yard interception return from Cortez Stoudemire sets up North Putnam out on offense again. Looking at the numbers for Summers, he's thrown 9 interceptions so far this year compared to a really impressive 32 touchdowns.
I tell you, that's
33, that is.
33, and we're down to 3:30 to go here in this first half of play, and it's already a 35-7. I mean, it was 21-7, and now Western Boone's blown this thing out here with a couple of turnovers by North Putnam.
Here's the kick. This one is a nice roll, not able to pick it up is Proctor. Proctor finally picks it up before he's brought down at the 11-yard line. And a really nice special teams play by the Stars special teams kicking off team, and one that's not really super necessary with such a lead, but a nice play now. North Putnam has a lot of field in front of them if they want to put up points before they head to the break here in 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, and what Western Boone wants to do here, they want to get a 3-and-out and get some good field position and end the half, and then of course North Putnam deferred, so they will get the kickoff to start the second half. Hand off to the man up the middle.
Tackled on the play by both of the outside backers, and Marsh and Benson.
I believe that was Baker on the carry, so Baker picks up about 2, so it's going to be second down and 8 with 3:10 to go here in this first half of play. Western Boone putting down a 4-man on the line, but they're bringing up about 3. Sometimes they're bringing up 4 men in the box to put pressure on North Putnam. This time they're putting some extra men up. Pitch over to the left side this time. And not able to make anything is Baker. Again, Baker stopped this time by Hyson. So now it's going to be a 3rd down and 8.
And a no rush this time to get to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, ball at the 8.
2:22 up on the clock and dropping 20 up on the play clock. Now out to the line of scrimmage are the Cougars. Leading the team is Summers.
This is a huge play for North Putnam.
Looking to pass, throws this one. It's caught by Caleb Lawrence. Lawrence will be brought out of bounds.
Close. I think they're going to give him the first down here.
They will mark it just in front of that line. That's Connor Hull who brings him out of bounds, but not after he moves the chains for a 9-yard pass from Maverick Summers, looking to at least get a little bit of something going before the half is over.
Well, I mean, you're talking about a North Putnam team that's went 8-2 this season. So, I mean, when you've got them down 35-7, you're saying a lot on a team like this.
Looking to pass to Summers. Throws this one deep to the middle of the field. It's incomplete. Thrown short again. Number 4, Colton Clifford, the slot wide receiver, not able to pull that one in, as we've seen Summers, as we've already said, make a few pretty poor throws so far this game.
If he'd have hit him on stride, it would have been a touchdown. Nobody could have caught him.
Yeah, on the slant play there, not able to connect, though. And Summers, the almost 2,500-yard passing so far this year, not able to get in the groove so far today. He's going to try to do that so on this drive. Here's another pass, batted down and complete.
Get a flag.
And as you can see,
I hate to tell you that, but we do. False start this time on North Putnam.
And these little penalties, the false starts, the offsides, the encroachments, they really got to stop for this team. It's not something that really is – it's not something you can blame the refs on. You blame it on the players who haven't been able to keep those at bay so far today.
Yeah, and a lot of it, I believe, on the North Putnam part on these false starts is they just are having a hard time picking up the defense because they're bringing so many at once. Here we go.
Handoff. It's up the middle to Baker. Baker is going to be brought down by number 8, Marsh.
Marsh, yeah, doing a good job on that as well.
And by 48, Dakota Halford as well.
But they're just bringing, they're bringing stunts. They're bringing people blitzing from the outside, from the inside, and North Putnam, they're trying to sneak peeks and they're trying to move a little ahead of time, and it's North Putnam's just having a hard time with it.
Trips wide receivers, 3 of them out wide in the shotgun formation. Baker next to him looking to pass to Summers. Summers with pressure throws this one, and it will be incomplete there after 2 guys had their hands on it, one of which is the outside linebacker Iron. The other one looked to be Spencer Wright, but there's a flag on the play, so we'll await the call here in just a minute. Hopefully it looked like it might have been pass interference. We'll see if that was the call or not. It was in the area of Caleb Iron, who looked up, saw the flag, threw his arms up in the air. We'll see what the referees decide to call.
But I'll tell you what, you had, Summers tried to put that in a location where you had 1 receiver and 3 defensive players around that ball. So very, very lucky is he able to get this thing off and get a interference. But it's still going to be 3rd down and 4 for North Putnam with 1:10 to go here in this first half.
Yeah, it looked like there might have been a neutral zone infraction. 5-yard penalty, sets up 3rd and short, looking to pass. This one's batted, incomplete, out of bounds. And the 4th batted pass of this game as Summers not able to connect with a receiver there. Maverick Summers, 6'1". It's not like height's a problem. He's just not able to throw it high enough over his big offensive line and his pretty big defensive line of the
Freeman
Stars.
And Dakota. You've got some big guys there. Holes back, and North Putnam with 1:07's got an opportunity. I believe they got 1 timeout left to move the ball. There's gonna be a penalty here on North Putnam. False start again.
So it went from what could have been a 4th and 4. Now we're going to see 4th and 9 and a huge penalty. North Putnam might be forced. They will be forced to punt here. And 1:07, the Stars with a 28-point lead. See what they can do with the ball, likely in a short field as Hull, he's on the 49-yard line of his own. Here's the punt. This one is up. He does get it off right around the 50-yard line, recovered by Hull. Hull has to go back to his own territory, cuts back to the near side. Now up the middle, Hull, all that work, gets a gain of 5 before he's finally slung down to the ground.
Pack of Cougars gets him down there.
Couple of guys,
we're looking at 52.4 or 52.2 seconds left here in this first half. And Western Boone a play away of really blowing this thing out.
Here we'll await this offense of the Stars coming out of the field shortly.
Colin Hines, a senior, 6'1", 250, comes in for North Putnam. Hate to be the family has to feed him. Boy, he's a big kid. Good toss, good catch. But I'll tell you what, he had wide open Durbin.
Now with 30 seconds, looking to pass is right. Throws this one through the hands of the defender, number 34 of the Cougars. That one's incomplete. And Robert Green, the linebacker, the one to get his hands in on the play.
That was meant for Garrity. Yep, 28.3 seconds to go here in this first half of play. It's 3rd down and a long 2. Snaps back.
Looking to pass deep downfield. He's got a guy open his hole. Connor Hull with the end zone in front of him. He's in. And before the half, puts up more points up on the board as the Stars, they haven't put up quite the numbers on the scoreboard they did last year. Here they did. They are As just in the first half, 41-7 is the score, looking to make it 42-7 against this Cougars team. Last year they scored 49. Here's the PAT.
And I tell you what, hopefully we can get a replay on that, because Hull had to jump and catch that ball, but he did not miss a step. Once he caught that ball, turned and ran. We've got the snap. It's down. The kick is up.
Jake Taylor, the kicker. Perfect so far with plenty of opportunities. 6 so far, 42-7 to score. And let's take a look at this play from Connor Hull, his third touchdown of the game. Spencer Wright sees him in the middle of the field, and he really has to stretch up to get that one. He's off balance for the run, but makes it into the end zone. And what a play. Now with 20.6 seconds left in the first half, the Stars 42-7. You got to wonder. I wonder if we might see the starting team in for a bit of the second half as well. They may hold off to put in the backups until closer to the fourth quarter. The way these guys are playing, the way the coaches are letting the Stars air it out and get some confidence.
I would be very surprised if we see Brett Wethington in the second half. Of course, we're at 35 points after this. We'll have a running clock, I'm sure, for the second half. But just shows the athletic ability of Hull. Great to see a young man like that. I mean, the team, not only do you have to have a good quarterback like Wright, but Hull able to make that catch, bring it down, and get a touchdown. The kick, caught it to 15, 20.
And here's number 30, Lawrence. He has to go back again, now up the sideline. And all that just for a few yards out to the 25-yard line.
Flag on the far side.
That one flies high right in the heat of all the action.
It'll be on Western Boone, I'm sure.
Now with 11.8 seconds, and these teams, they just want to make it to the half. As so many penalties this first half. That's
personal foul.
I'm sure the Stars, they're up by quite a bit, but they're probably going to hear a lot about penalties here come halftime. So here comes this North Putnam offense. They've got the Hail Mary set out, it looks like. Trips to the bottom. Going to look to throw this one short before he's hit by Luke Marsh. And the reception, Lawrence, he gets out of bounds. Still enough time on the clock for another play.
Boy,
6
the quarterback, he took one, man.
And he's slow to get up, as I would be too if I got hit like that. Timeout will be called by North Putnam with 6 seconds left on the clock. Going to give their quarterback a breather.
I was going to say, he's going to have to catch his breath. He hit him so hard he could see his ancestors almost on that hit. I'm telling you, I don't know if you got a replay of that, but my goodness, he was wide open and nobody touched him coming through the line.
23-12 the score, Western over Lebanon at the half. Looking at some of the other scores here
and that's
as
an
well.
Interesting score too. I thought Lebanon might give them a little better game.
Yeah, and it's only a 11-point game there. Lebanon, the Stars beat them by 20. The Stars lost to Western by 1. That matches up quite a bit with that there. And they're only at the halftime. Lebanon's known to play some pretty good ball in the first half, as they did against the Stars. Lewis Cass, 40. Rochester, 3. That game's over at the half with the running clock, of course, in play. Triton Central, 28. Paoli, 8. 27-8, that is. So just some scores not pretty quite yet. We'll see some closer games here in the next coming weeks, but the first couple rounds of sectionals are always pretty brutal.
Yeah, when Lebanon was playing Western Boone, it was a 7-0 game at the half. They had the lead at the halftime, and then Western Boone came out and was serious in that second half.
Yeah, the Stars have been so good with their second half coaching adjustments. Not going to need a whole lot here, though. Now up by 35. Here's the snap. Looking to throw this one deep is Maverick Summers. Launches a bullet. It is caught. You got to get out of bounds. He doesn't. He stays in bounds. Will be taken out now with zeros on the board. And number 12, Lucius Alexander, all he needed to do was take a step to his right, and they would have had about a second and a half left for another throw.
A little prevent defense there. They just let him catch it and get some yardage and then burn the clock out. But then North Putnam will get the ball to start the second half.
Yeah, North Putnam, they mounted a bit of a drive there late, and maybe that's something they can take in a half as a bit of a positive after a game that we've seen a lot of negatives. And we'll just take a peek here before we head into a break. Just a quick recap of what has happened throughout the game, starting from the first quarter. This game's been pretty much all Western Boone. And Wethington started this one off with a 1-yard rushing touchdown off to the left side after that was a 4th down touchdown rush that Spencer Wright wasn't able to knock in twice with the quarterback sneak. So Wethington's first game back from injury, he gets that rushing touchdown. Hull had a 25-yard touchdown catch, his first of 3 touchdowns. Robbie Taylor had a 1-yard rushing touchdown sandwiched in between a tight end catch from North Putnam. They had their lone touchdown catch of a yard by number 44, Mason Brooks, a tight end. In the second quarter, that's where Connor Hull really made his name known with the touchdown rush. 2 of them actually, but one of them got called back, of course. Stoudemire with the 80-yard interception return for a touchdown. Hull had a crucial interception and then followed that up with a 40-yard touchdown catch.
You ready for some stats, or you want to take a break, or what do you want to do?
Let's hear some stats.
All right. For Chris Western Boone with a 42-7 lead over North Putnam. Rushing, 23 rushes for 84 yards for Western Boone, 13 rushes for 40 yards for North Putnam. The average was pretty close, 3.7 for Western Boone, 3.1 for North Putnam. The passing-wise, North Put was 6 for 14 with 1 interception, and Western Boone 5 for 12, no interceptions. 115 yards for Western Boone. They're averaging almost 10 yards a catch. North Putnam is 80 yards, so they're average about 6 yards per catch. Total yardage, 35 total plays for Western Boone for 204 yards, 30 plays for North Putnam for 130 yards. And third down conversions, 3 for 6 for Western Boone, 3 for 8 for North Putnam. We'll go to some individual stats. Again, Spencer Wright, 5 for 12 for 120 yards for North Putnam. Summers, 6 for 10 for 80 yards. Connor Hull with 3 catches for 78 yards. Garrity, 1 catch for 29 yards. Stoudemire, 1 catch for 8 yards. And running back, as far as rushing yards, Brett Wethington come in with 8 rushes for 38 yards. Baird, 4 rushes for 35 yards. Taylor, 3 rushes for 7 yards. Iron, 1 for 5. Wright, 2 rushes for no yardage. And Connor Hull with 3 rushes for negative 9 yards. So that's kind of the stats we've got going on. It's kind of interesting. There's some similarities here, but, the big thing is your total yards with Western Boone, almost 60 more total yards off of 5 more plays.
Yeah, and 42-7 is your score. The Stars are up. They're headed to the locker room. We'll head into a break as well and be back after a word from the IHSAA here in just a moment. I'm Nathaniel Finch, joined by Brett Kading, Austin Smothers, technical director, and running the camera up in the cold and the wind is Matt Foxworthy. We'll be back here in just a few moments. That's right.
Doing a phenomenal job.
We'll be back here in just a few minutes on WBTV Sports.
Want to know what I like best about playing basketball for my high school? I like it because it's a place where my friends get to see me play. I like it because I'm playing for someone besides myself. Want to know what I like best about playing basketball for my high school? I like it because it's a place where my friends get to see me play. I like it because I'm playing for someone besides myself. I'm playing for everybody in my school and every person in my community.
Indiana high school sports. They're more than just a game.
Come and see me play.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in Indiana, who do you meet? Answer. Men and women who played high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Question. So where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer. High school sports.
This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
I don't think of this as a high school weight room. It's more like a high school classroom. I'm learning how to manage my time here. I'm learning that it's important to have goals and that it takes persistence and commitment to reach them. And I'm learning that the best way to lead is by example.
Indiana High School Sports. They're more than just a game.
Come and see me play.
A wintry Friday night. A packed gymnasium in a tight-knit community. A shot taken. History made. A state of delirium? No. The state of Indiana. High school sports. Pure spirit, pure sport, pure Indiana. This message brought to you by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the high schools in your community.
Want to know what
or on the mat. It doesn't happen only in the pool or on the green or the track. It also happens in the stands, on the sidelines, on the web, and at home. That's because sportsmanship is everyone's responsibility. We remind you to practice good sportsmanship at all high school sporting events. Treat athletes and officials with respect during competition and especially in social media. And support your team's coaching staff. Remember, sportsmanship has a face, yours. A message from your high school and the Indiana High School Athletic Association. The debate about sports specialization by high school athletes continues. Some argue that high school athletes who play one sport all year long have a better chance of landing a lucrative pro contract. But that's simply not true. In fact, 30 of the 32 first-round picks in last year's NFL draft played more than one sport in high school. Of the 32 players drafted, 22 also participated in high school track and field. 19 also played basketball. Some also played baseball and lacrosse. What's the path to success for high school athletes here in Indiana, no matter what their goals might be? Study hard, always do your best, and if you can, play more than one sport in high school. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Want to know what I like best about my high school? I like it because it's a place where my friends get to Want to know what I like? I'm playing for someone besides myself. I'm playing for everybody in my school and every person in my community.
Indiana High School Sports. They're more than just a game.
Come and see me play.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in Indiana, who do you meet? Answer. Men and women who play high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Question. So where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer. High school sports.
This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
I don't think of this as a high school weight room. It's more like a high school classroom. I'm learning how to manage my time here. I'm learning that it's important to have goals and that it takes persistence and commitment to reach them. And I'm learning that the best way to lead is by example.
Indiana High School Sports. They're more than just a game.
Come and see me play.
A wintry Friday night. A packed gymnasium in a tight-knit community. A shot taken. History made. A state of delirium? No. The state of Indiana. High school sports. Pure spirit, pure sport, pure Indiana. This message brought to you by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the high schools in your community. Sportsmanship doesn't happen just on the court or on the field or on the mat. It doesn't happen only in the pool or on the green or the track. It also happens in the stands, on the sidelines, on the web, and at home. That's because sportsmanship is everyone's responsibility. We remind you to practice good sportsmanship at all high school sporting events. Treat athletes and officials with respect during competition and especially in social media. And support your team's coaching staff. Remember, sportsmanship has a face, yours. A message from your high school and the Indiana High School Athletic Association. The debate about sports specialization by high school athletes continues. Some argue that high school athletes who play one sport all year long have a better chance of landing a lucrative pro contract. But that's simply not true. In fact, 30 of the 32 first-round picks in last year's NFL draft played more than one sport in high school. Of the 32 players drafted, 22 also participated in high school track and field. 19 also played basketball. Some also played baseball and lacrosse. What's the path to success for high school athletes here in Indiana, no matter what their goals might be? Study hard, always do your best, and if you can, play more than one sport in high school. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Well, welcome back here at North Putnam High School. The teams, they're out on the field. They are stretching and getting ready for the second half of play. I'm Nathaniel Finch. I'm here with Brett Kading. And 42-7 score. The Stars, they're up by quite a bit. And really big story so far for the Stars, at least, is their coaching. They've been coached really well and even coached through some penalty problems. They've been able to make it through and keep this game well ahead in control. A 35-point game, as you can't see. You heard some stats earlier. And just the thing that surprises me most is the lack of production from quarterback Summers from North Putnam, how he is not able to get going. He's been amazing so far this year. He has almost 2,500 yards, as we mentioned, through the air. He's completed over 266 passes, has 33 touchdowns, only 8 interceptions, quarterback rating of over 114 on the season, and somehow he has played very poorly so far. They did get that one touchdown earlier in the first half. You saw his tight end go up for just the really nice drawn-up play from North Putnam, and that was a 6-yard touchdown. But really, he hadn't played hardly at all. Very good is Summers, and he's been struggling this game. That's really a testament to
go back out where it's cold. Well, I tell you, we're down to 37 seconds to go before we start this second half of play. Again, Western Boone with that 42-7 lead, and Nathaniel, I tell you, I heard you talking about the coaching staff and the things that Western Boone does and changes at halftime, but the biggest thing that I saw in the first half that the coaching staff doesn't have to make any changes on is the mistakes that North Putnam made. The North Putnam especially in that the end of the second half, made some really big mistakes that cost them about 21 points. But the thing is, the Stars took advantage of North Putnam's mistakes.
I'll tell you what, Brett. If North Putnam were able to come in penalty-free, then it would be a tie ball game right now, because the Stars have committed so many penalties, but North Putnam has 2. And if North Putnam, if they didn't shoot themselves in the foot so much, they would be able to move the ball a lot more, capitalize on mistakes of Western Boone. Instead, both teams are committing penalties left and right, and the Stars, they're just adding more chunk plays in between.
Exactly, but they also, they've had these big opportunities. They're stretching the field out. They're running some plays up the middle, and then they're doing a good job on the misdirection plays. Hull has just had a phenomenal first half. I mean, you dream about a game like Hull had, and he had a game in that first half.
Yeah, you're referencing 3 touchdowns, 2 through the air, 40-yard touchdown catch, a 25-yard touchdown catch, a 17-yard touchdown rush. He had an interception that set up a touchdown, and he has been on pretty much every tackle and on every play, and he is playing the seems like game of his life, but somehow he does this week in and week out. Here's the opening kickoff returned by Caleb Lawrence. North Putnam gets a few yards in on the return, and we'll set them up 1st and 10. Their offense in the third quarter. And
Austin Litton on the tackle there for the Stars.
Yep, and we see a 35-point lead, second half, running clock.
And have you happened to get any more updates on any other scores?
I got a whole bunch for you here, Brett.
Oh,
First,
see, there you
Cecina
go.
and Shenandoah, 28-14 is the score there. Cecina is ahead midway through the third. Eastbrook and Tipton, 7-point game, 14-7. Eastbrook's ahead in the third quarter. And the game that most pertains to this one we'll hear about here in just a minute. After this pass play, throws this one. And as you mentioned, interception down the sideline. Number 5, Clayton Highsong, is in for an early touchdown. And the Stars, their starters not taking their foot off the pedal. Another score, 48-7. And you guys remember what the score was last year, 49-8. Here comes the extra point to make this one 49 if it goes through.
Hey, you said that important score?
South Vermilion versus Cascade. The winner of this game plays the winner of that game. South Vermilion 21, Cascade 17. Close game over there.
So South Vermilion coming back on that lead that Cascade had.
It was interesting watching Clayton Highsong run on that interception return. You can tell he's been on the defensive line for quite a bit.
He looked like a gazelle. Come on, he looked like a gazelle running down through there.
Looked like Adrian Peterson when he tries to run at this stage of his career.
Come on, Grandma and Grandpa will be proud of him the way he ran that ball back.
Yeah, you can see here he picks it up and just hobbles his way into the end zone. A really nice job by him to get that interception return for a touchdown, and something that defensive lineman doesn't see all that often. We actually saw it in the NFL last week. Nick Bosa of the 49ers, the defensive end, had an interception return almost for a touchdown. So just a little interesting there.
Now, you said if Cascade was victorious, they would play at Cascade. So does that mean that they would play at South Vermilion if they're victorious as well? So
yes,
that'll be a long trip for Western Boone to go clear down to that's basically Clinton, Indiana, down by Terre Haute. That'll be a long drive for Western Boone.
Yeah, and the Stars, they're up by 42 points. I think it's safe to start looking ahead in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
And, yeah, the Stars will definitely be away next week. They will almost definitely host regionals the week after that if they were to make it past the sectional championship. Of course, not supposed to look that far, but 49-7, we can at least look past the next two quarters. And let's take a look at some of the numbers by Clayton Highsong, the guy who had the interception return for a touchdown earlier. He's got 2.5 sacks so far this year. I believe he had one earlier, so make that 3.5. He does a lot of his damage with those tackles for a loss, though. And we'll get into that stat here in just a second. After we look, that was his first interception return for a touchdown on the year as Clayton Highsong. He hasn't had an interception or a touchdown as he plays so well just on his spot in the defensive line after that kick goes.
Yeah, out of bounds, so there'll be a penalty on Young's kick out of bounds.
Highsong hasn't got in on offense a lot either, so no touchdowns on offense for him either. But like I said, he's been playing really well across from Caleb Freeman in the sack department. He's done a nice job, and he's got 38 total tackles coming into this one, 7 of those for a loss. He's added to that quite a bit. Clayton Highsong putting together a nice year. As we mentioned, the second team all-conference for the Sagamore Conference. And a play that Coach Pelly highlighted to me at the very beginning of the year. He said keep an eye on Clayton Highsong throughout the next few weeks. And sure enough, he's played very well. Here's the huddle for the Stars as they're going to kick this one again. Elliott Young, number 18, the kickoff specialist. This one is in the middle of the field. Now over to the right side, and it bounces out again.
It's going to go out of bounds, and it'll be another penalty.
And keep an eye on Elliott Young. This is his first game being that kickoff specialist in the role for the Stars, as he dabbled a little bit in PAT kicking at the beginning of the year after he was the primary PAT kicker last year. He struggled, so he was moved out of the way in favor of Jake Taylor today after Hayden Woodruff, the kickoff specialist for the Stars, went down with an injury. We saw Young kick, and here 2 straight kicks out of bounds. Inexperienced guy. So we'll see here from now from the 30-yard line, gifting some yards to North Putnam and the Cougars offense here if we can get them on the field. Here's Young once again. Kicks this one now to the near side towards the middle. This one is returned by number 1, Scott Proctor. Proctor up the middle and returns this one to midfield. Really nice return there, and now sets up North Putnam's offense with 50 yards to go in a short field.
He was going to make sure that one wasn't going out of bounds, wasn't he?
For sure. He kicked that in the middle and high just to make sure. And now we will see the Stars defense. Most of their starters still in, one of which that's not in. If you look out there is Brett Wethington. As we see Weekly in instead, trying to rest that sore hamstring, I bet, of Brett Wethington. Here's this offense. Summers, he's in the shotgun formation, handoff up the middle, and Baker gets a gain of a few. Aiden Baker with a nice first down gain of 5. Will now set up his team 2nd and 5. Not a bad start for first down on this drive. The last drive they had, of course, touchdown return the other way. This is another handoff up the middle, similar play. This time Baker gets about the similar amount of yardage, just short of the first down marker, maybe right at it. Brought down by a couple guys, including Benson and Freeman. Tyler Latham, nose tackle right now, is in on the play as well.
Been several changes. Austin Bowman's not in there as well in the back.
Yeah, as I'm sure they're trying to protect his health as well after he went out earlier. Here's the rush to the left side after the first down was given. And Summers with a nice job there. Maverick Summers gets near the first down marker. That looks like it'll be 2nd and about a yard. And one player that we don't see out there, well, excuse me, came back onto the field. Never mind. Bowman, as you mentioned, he is standing on the sideline waiting for his turn to come on. We'll see if he does or not. Next to his coach, here's Summers. Throws this one to the other side of the field. It is intercepted. Stoudemire with another interception this game. His 2nd of the game, 6th of the season, and in the exact same spot as the last one, the near side, right on the 20-yard line. And Stoudemire didn't take that one back for any return yardage like the last one. He brought back 80 yards, but he still gets the interception and brings out this offense for Western Boone. We'll see what kind of personnel they bring out onto the field. Like I said, I don't think that they're going to take the varsity out just yet.
Yeah, we'll see, but I doubt if we'll see Wethington.
All right, Robbie Taylor, the running back. Spencer Wright's still in at quarterback. Heavy set. Trent Christner in at tight ends. He does so well there blocking for this heavy set formation. The wing back is Marsh. Marsh is in motion. Handoff Taylor, left side. Robbie Taylor will be wrapped up and brought down after he gets a couple yards. The first guy there for the Cougars was number 79, Mason Ray. And a nice play there by North Putnam to keep Taylor to a gain of just 4.
Yeah, and Garrity, you look at Garrity, he's still in the ball game. He was wide out to the right. But with the running clock, it won't take long. We're down to 5 minutes and 30 seconds to go in this 3rd period of play.
5.5 minutes left in the 3rd. Out onto the field, Western Boone in that heavy set formation still. Robbie Taylor, the man in the backfield, man in motion, Marsh. Handoff. Taylor, left side. And he's now brought down by a pack of Cougars, as you mentioned earlier. Same.
That's right.
That'll be a nice gain of 3 or 4 and sets up a manageable 3rd and about 2. Likely see a very similar play to what we just saw with Taylor powering up the middle. Here's a replay from the interception earlier. As Summers looked, he was faced with some pressure, made him make a bad throw across his body to the other side of the field, and laying there on the ground was Stoudemire. Heavy set formation. Taylor, the running back in the backfield. Baird in motion. Toss out to Baird, right side. Baird off the tackle. He gets the first down and more. He lowers his shoulder, dropped down around the 39-yard line. Casey Baird with another rush off of the toss. Coaching staff sure seems to like Casey Baird, like what they see on those toss plays.
Yeah, he's quick going around the outside. He can get to that corner. I was looking to see for North Putnam. That was Alexander on the tackle over on the far side. He is so quick at going down the line and making that cut. And just once he gets outside, he's hard to bring down.
Casey Baird, the wing back for the Stars. You can see Connor Garrity lined up at the near side. Everyone else in to block for Robbie Taylor. It'll be a handoff. Taylor right side. Taylor still moving his feet and gets a gain of 6 or 7. Robbie Taylor, the running back, in on the play, brought down by primarily for North Putnam, number 9, Skylar Warren, the leader for this team.
Patterson in there as well. Then we're down to 3:30 to go here in this 3rd period. North Putnam taking their time.
And the Stars now in the huddle on the 46-yard line of their own near midfield. Taylor, the running back. Two wings, two tight ends, and a wide receiver hands this one off to the right side, and he's stopped short. Taylor with the rush. He gets a gain of just 1 or 2, and now set up 3rd and 1.
And again, that's a 3rd down and a long one. 49-7, we have the score here. The Stars over the Cougars.
2 minutes and 40 seconds now left in the third. This third quarter ticking by fast after what first quarter took forever, about an hour and a half, because of a lot of penalties. Not as many here in this one. Here's a handoff left side, reaches forward, gets the first down. Robbie Taylor, some pushing and shoving. Down on the near side, no flags thrown this time.
So that's so important. I mean, for Western Boone, they're just trying to get, first down, second down, and on third down, get a first down, move the chains, let the clock keep on turning.
Here's this next play. Heavy set, man in motion's Marsh. Handoff right side, Taylor. He's still moving after initial contact, only gave him a yard. He'll move forward and somehow, some way, teleport forward for 5 yards. .90 seconds left here under this running clock in the third quarter. The offense in plus territory now. They've got a second and manageable. Offense taking their time. Spencer Wright just now gets a call. We'll look at a replay in the meantime. Here, just once again, the play that set up this drive from Stoudemire, his second of the game, sixth of the year.
Yep.
It's his second game with 2 interceptions this year. Taylor to the right side. Taylor will be stopped short, but still move forward and power for a gain of 2 or 3. Sets up 3rd and medium now. Now with under 45 seconds, there's about an 11-second difference from the play clock and the game clock, so one more play will be sufficient for the third quarter. 49-7, last year's score, 49-8. Here's the Stars offense. Their starter still out on the field. Trying to gain some confidence here late into sectional play. 25 seconds. And you got 10 on the play clock. 2 tight end look, 2 wings, hand off. Taylor, right side, same exact play as we've seen all game, and he gets a first down. All of the quarter, all this drive. And that'll be enough to move us into a minute-long break, and we'll be back here with the fourth quarter of play in just a minute here on WBTV Sports.
Sportsmanship doesn't happen just on the court or on the field or on the mat. It doesn't happen only in the pool or on the green or the track. It also happens in the stands, on the sidelines, on the web, and at home. That's because sportsmanship is everyone's responsibility. We remind you to practice good sportsmanship at all high school sporting events. Treat athletes and officials with respect during competition and especially in social media. And support your team's coaching staff. Remember, sportsmanship has a face. Yours. A message from your high school and the Indiana High School Athletic Association.
We're back here with a 42-point ball game. The Stars are ahead, 12 fresh minutes up on the board. We got a Western Boone offense moving the ball pretty efficiently here through the ground. Haven't seen a pass yet this drive. However, Spencer Wright has had to use his arm a bit more so far this game. He's got a few touchdown passes to his name. 2 of them, both to Connor Hull. And here we've got the backups in for the fourth quarter. Here's Rowan Durbin. It'll be a handoff and brought down right at the line of scrimmage, number 36, Joe Stakowitz. And now the Stars are on cruise control, maybe 1 point away from the same score last year, depending on how this fourth quarter plays out. We've seen this JV defense hold a lot of teams to no points in the last two quarters a few times this year when they've had to come in for relief of the offense. I'm talking to some people around the team before the game. A lot of people thought here, you see the heavy set formation on the field, a lot of people thought that we might have to wait until the fourth quarter if the game was ahead by this much to see these guys. And sure enough, the first play of the fourth quarter, we've got the second stringers in. And that play will be stuffed for a loss. Stakowitz, the running back, in on the play. And we'll now set up 3rd and 10, 3rd and maybe 9. Letting the clock roll down. There's 20 seconds up on the play clock. And the team just now getting out to the huddle. Last week, the same time, fourth quarter, we saw some players such as Austin Litton shine in his time as one of the players on this second string team. Here's the handoff. Quarterback keeper brought down for a sack. And looked like number 3, Patterson, was the guy in on the sack for the Cougars. Peyton Patterson, defensive lineman, linebacker for this team. Peyton Patterson so far this year, just looking at his sack numbers, doesn't have any. Excuse me. So he's got 2 numbers here, number 3 and number 59. Under 59, he has 2 sacks. That's his 3rd sack. Hadn't gotten any sacks under the number 3, I guess. Here's his first one today wearing that jersey. Always confusing up here when players have different numbers. Yeah. And he plays tight end as well, so he's got to have a different number when he plays tight end and offensive line. Here's the toss out to the left side, cuts it back in, and dropped to the ground. That was number 20, Ethan Bales for the Stars. And that will be a turnover on downs as the Stars, they didn't want to have anything to do with the punt there on that play or a pass to stop. So they will just run it and set up 1st and 10 for the Cougars. And I've said it before, I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but I'll say it again. The coaching staff for Western Boone has done such an amazing job this whole game, scheming up plays. The defense has played phenomenal, and just the whole offense as itself. We've seen them held back by penalties over and over again, and somehow the coaching staff still able to come out with that next play, the next misdirection, the next wide open wide receiver, and they're just making it look easy over there on the sideline. Coach Pelly, screaming towards his 63rd win of his career as a Western Boone head coach, aided there by his coaching staff, offensive coordinator Coach Comer, defensive coordinator Coach Brune, special teams coordinator Coach Pearson, and such a nice staff he's handpicked and put together there. Coach Pelly doing a nice job working for Western Boone since 2013. Here's a snap, toss out to the right side, and Baker puts his hand out for the stiff arm. He'll finally be wrestled down by Western Boone's number 50 on the defense.
Well, and you got to give the North Putnam Cougars, a little shout out here as well, because they, they end the season 8-3, had a tremendous season. There's a lot of people I don't believe thought that they would be at this 8-3 situation, but they've done a great job this year, and just met up with a really, really tough Western Boone team tonight.
Here's the next play, a high snap, corralled, looking to throw this one, has to, screen pass to Caleb Lawrence, finally brought down by Austin Litton. We said his name earlier, and Lawrence will get a gain of a couple, sets up 4th and short, and walking into the press box here today, heard a couple guys on the other end talking, and one of the people they asked North Putnam's announcer, they said, hey, how's North Putnam's season been so far this year? And he didn't hesitate to say we've done a very good job so far this year, 8-2 coming into this one, and they had high hopes for this game. They've had a nice season, as you mentioned, not to be taken away. Here's the first down. Number 21, Aiden Baker with the gain. And now we're going to near the 7-minute mark as that first down warrants some cheers from this North Putnam sideline in front of us. Shotgun formation, moving his offense around a bit as Summers. Here's a snap, handoff, now throws it to the near side, and the catch also
Good
warranting
catch.
some physical play. That, as we mentioned earlier, is number 3, Peyton Patterson, who's had himself a nice game as a senior. 6'4", tight end, offensive lineman, linebacker, seeing his last few minutes of varsity football on this North Putnam squad. And these seniors, anytime they get the ball in their hands, they're getting a lot of cheers from this crowd that's watched them for 4 years. This time will be brought down number 12 of the Cougars, Lucius Alexander, and they're just trying to get their seniors involved at this point. And that'll be enough for a first down and some more cheers from this sideline. It's nice to see these seniors getting some touches here in their last few minutes of play.
We're down to 6 minutes to go here in this ball game.
So after giving up the first touchdown of the game, Cecina, they're up 42-14. They've gone on a 42-7 run since that first play, and now they're about to beat Shenandoah handily and move on to the sectional championship of sectional 38. Here's a pass, looking deep, throws this one high, almost intercepted by one hand. Maybe if Austin Litton got a second, he could have pulled it down. Instead, drops incomplete, and that'll set up 2nd and 10. Eastbrook is up 21-7 against Tipton. That was a pretty even matchup over there as well. Now down to 5 minutes, just about 5:10 up on the board.
We got a false start, I think, here.
Quick scoring update. Cascade, they're ahead against South Vermilion. They're at home. 30-21 is the score now. Cascade's ahead.
Okay. That a good ball game.
9-point game at Cascade.
I hate it for Kenny Kearns, but for Western Boone, it would be good for you to have a drive to Cascade instead of driving all the way to Clinton, Indiana.
Cascade quite a bit closer, and some
And
really
they've
nice
got a
facilities
turf field.
there.
Yeah,
Turf field. They've got a nice press box. And the hurdle by Baker gets a gain of a few before he's brought down. Tyler Latham, the nose tackle, one of the ministers there to bring him down.
Now, I say you got to be really happy with Wethington. Came in, has knocked a little bit of the dust off tonight, and had to feel good about that first drive. Basically, took it underneath his wing, went down there, and didn't worry about the injury, and was able to, I think, feel good about tonight. And I think the coaching staff brought him in when they kind of wanted to and needed to, but then they didn't need him, and gives him a little bit more time to rest.
Yeah, and that's really going to be huge coming in the next few games. They're going to need him a ton. Here, there's 3.5 minutes left in this game. North Putnam, they're nearing the red zone. They're at the 30, about the 31. Here's a snap, looking to pass. Fires this one deep downfield towards the end zone.
Off the helmet
of Jason Baker. And the wide receiver.
That's using his head. Get that off the helmet there.
That's one way to do it. Incomplete pass. Cascade, they scored their extra point 31-21 against South Vermilion. There's 6 minutes left in the third quarter. So even though we are under 3 here, they still have plenty of ball game to play over Cascade and South Vermilion.
I did a baseball game over at South Vermilion one time, and they didn't have any room in the press box, and they put us in the press box of the football stadium, and we did it from center field, called the game from center field at their football stadium on their baseball game.
I bet that was pretty cool. Here's the handoff, goes nowhere. Stakowitz with the rush. Man still down on the ground with him and getting up slowly for North Putnam. Number 78, Colin Hines, another senior, getting fired up here as he knows he's got only 2 minutes and 10 seconds left in his varsity career.
The only thing was it was tough calling the balls and strikes.
Oh, I bet. And from up there, he didn't have much of a vantage point. Heritage Christian, they're in Sectional 38 as well. They're looking to give Cecina a run for their money for that championship. Cecina, of course, they've won at least the last 2 years and come played Western Boone in regionals. Heritage Christian 14, Eastern Hancock 6 is the most updated score I've seen in the fourth quarter.
On Mater Day.
14-6 is the score there. We'll move on, take a look at Mater Day here as soon as we can.
We got down to 1:30 to go.
So Mater Day played a really tough squad in Linton Stockton. These two teams, two of the top teams in 2A, top 10 teams. And Mater Day right now they're ahead 30-7.
Wow.
And when last week, number 2 and number 3 teams in Lewis Cass and Pioneer played. Lewis Cass blew them out. Now Mater Day is ahead by 23 against Linton Stockton. Mater Day looking to make some noise in the tournament this year, as they did last year as well.
False start on the Stars.
I guess the Stars just don't want to play offense right now, as they'll take the penalty and knock another
probably just
25-ish seconds off the clock.
It's third down and about 20, so they'll probably just take a knee here. That'll probably be the last play of the ball game.
Keep your eye out on the score for that Cascade South Vermilion game. If you guys are from home, you can go on maxpreps.com and see the scores from up there. And the winner of that Cascade South Vermilion game will be playing the Stars. We will travel there next week, next Friday, and keep an eye on that game as well. The final score here is the clock will run down 49-7. The Stars are ahead. We'll take a break here and be back shortly after a message from the IHSAA and recap the game.
Meet Tommy. Tommy's not sure which sport he will play in high school someday. But no matter what he ends up choosing, playing sports in high school will help pave the way to a happier, healthier life. All Tommy needs to do is make up his mind. High school sports. Pure spirit, pure sport. Pure launching pad for life.
Oh, really?
We're back here, and before we get some stats, let's take a look at the scoring throughout this game. 49-7 you saw. First, it started off on the first drive where Brett Wethington had the 1-yard rushing touchdown. Connor Holden had a 25-yard touchdown catch on the next drive. Robbie Taylor with a 1-yard touchdown rush. Then to end the first quarter, keep things alive after a 21-0 deficit, North Putnam responded with a nice 7-yard touchdown catch from their tight end, number 44, Mason Brooks, the 6'5" junior. He's going to be a big part of this offense next year, I would imagine. And then coming to the second quarter, Connor Hull with a 17-yard touchdown catch. He had an interception that set up that drive a little bit earlier. A really nice play from him. Cortez Stoudemire with an 80-yard interception return for a touchdown in the second quarter. Connor Hull with a 40-yard touchdown catch in the second quarter, and what was a really nice play there. And just if we can see the replay here in a little bit, you would see that he had a really nice stretch going up and getting it and bringing that one in. We'll get the replay here shortly, but first we'll just take a look at how the scoring went later in the drive. Once we got to the third quarter, where Clayton Heisong had a 20-yard interception return for a touchdown. And as we near the time to take a look at some stats, let's take a look at some replays from throughout the game. Here's one as we're prepping some more. It was an interception that really set up a just the end of the game. It iced the game here in the third quarter, where Stoudemire is the second one of the game. Here's the next one, Connor Hull with a touchdown catch from earlier, where he just went streaking from that slot receiver position. And look at that catch where he reached up, and of course he was off balance into the end zone, where that's 3 or 4 times that the receiver's been off balance in the end zone because they made such a good play to get the reception, to get the interception, different stuff like that. Here's a nice play, a reverse, and Connor Hull, look how many tackles he broke to get into the end zone. Hull, the player of the game, of course, as he accounted for 3 touchdowns and an interception, and he had a couple nice returns.
good misdirection. I mean, Western Boone did a good job on their misdirections. But again, it was that middle part of that second quarter that turned this game completely around. North Putnam made some mistakes. The Stars took advantage of the mistakes, and I think that's what. Well, they scored 21 points there in the end of the second quarter, just on two big mistakes from North Putnam's offense.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, when the Stars were up 21-0, it seemed pretty bleak for the Cougars, and it seemed like the Stars were going to be able to come out to a big lead and ice the game and maybe get the shutout. The Cougars, they fought back. They got that nice touchdown. They had a couple nice drives, but the Stars were just able to take control of this game and come out with a win here. The score 49-7, the score last year against the same team a year from tomorrow. That score was 49-8. Two very similar games from two very different teams a year ago. So near the end of it, we'd like to give a few thank yous first to the IHSAA for approving us to come out here and broadcast this game for all of you guys. We'll give a thank you to the Marsh family, the Young family, and the Conyer family for your contributions to WBTV Sports. We'd like to thank the athletic department of North Putnam for getting us into their nice press box up here. Really big press box.
Nice heated press box.
That's the difference between us and the people a few feet in front of us out in the cold as we get the warmth. So thank you to the athletic department of North Putnam. Once again, I'm Nathaniel Finch, Brett Kading to my right. Thank you to Austin Smothers, our technical director, and Matt Foxworthy, cold up on top of the booth. Andy Hoskins, our official scorer for the game, and Mr. Don Gray is our stats man of the game. Thank you to everybody involved in making this broadcast today happen. We, of course, like to thank all of you viewers watching right now, watching throughout the game. We'll see you guys next week. Final score, 49-7. I'm Nathaniel Finch. I'll talk to you guys next Friday here on WBTV Sports.